Ladies, gentlemen, and non-binary folk of all ages, welcome to week 3 of A Link to the Past Randomizer Open League, featuring 2 teams from our Desert Palace division. We have DJ Darkwing D of Skewed by 6 Cubed versus Kaesden of Please Clap. I am Leoria, and I'm joined in the booth by Spy Weaver. How's it hanging, Spy?
Oh, not too bad. Just kind of chilling, waiting for things to get going here. Should be what promises to be a very fun match, if I do say so myself.
You know, we've definitely got a little bit of some friendly competition going on, not only with our runners, but here in the booth as well. Because, I'm, hanging on Please Clap.
Of course, and me being one of the other team members of Skewed by 6 Cube, this is I mean, we can try to be as impartial as we want, but I don't think that's gonna really happen too much.
No, I don't think so either. I think that it's going to be a very fun evening with our shenanigans here, as we see some nice piece of heart and dash action for both of our runners, and we'll see what Uncle's got.
A little bit of a lost allowance, if I do say so myself. There, the last little bit of the pocket change that he's given us, and hiding in the chest is the same exact thing. It looks like.
You know, it's nice if we don't manage to get any bomb drops, as it seems like our guards are in the rupee pack. We'll at least be able to hopefully buy bombs by the time we make it to CAC.
Yeah, the runners have that option, or since we do start with the boots, there's also a little pile of bonk rocks right to the west of the fortune teller north of Kakariko there that actually drops a bomb every time you bonk it.
That's true, and I think that's kind of, I shouldn't say a little known bonk rock, but it's definitely something that I don't see very often, as the map chest has a glove. So let's go to the mountain. Just kidding.
I mean, interesting find early on, but definitely not going to say no. That's one less item to search for that Dark World access.
Yeah, I'm certain that neither Kaesden nor Darkwing are going to be upset about that.
Say that now, but just wait for the Moon Pearl on Pyramid Ledge.
Ooh, as somebody who's friends with both of our runners, like, I don't wish that upon them, but as just a random viewer, oh boy, would I love to see it.
I mean, either way, I mean, I kind of still wish for it. It'd be kind of funny.
That's totally fair. So I do think it's fun as we're going through here, the, 2 different, like, I guess, execution choices with, killing the guards, like, which direction we have our swords. Even though we have a standard start, it's kind of fun to see the different choices that the runners are making.
That's also another fun part about starting like you do in a casual seed as this, aptly named because of the boots and the sword start. Actually gives you a little bit of variance, as you can see the runners actually going south out in this room here for a bridge that you don't usually see traveled in a normal non-boot start seed.
Alright, apologies, was trying to fix some things with my microphone really fast. Hopefully it is sounding okay. We both have our princesses. So far, still no bombs, but that won't be an issue because we have the boots. When we get to the back of escape, we can go ahead and just bonk the bombable wall. So, our runners are probably not super concerned with trying to hunt down these bombs.
No, it's probably one of the last things on their mind at this point. More or less just kind of concerned, I would imagine, about getting out of the escape with a relatively decent time and Moving on to the next couple of checks. I feel the first big question, however, will be whether or not you decide to go check Lumberjack Ledge right away.
So I know for me, I personally really like checking Lumberjack always, but even more so with casual boots. You have a sword, you have boots, you have really truly 2 out of the technically 4 items you need to be able to access that. You know, you're just missing an extra sword and a lamp. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see at least one of our runners making the trek up there.
And a normal seed, usually you'll see a number of runners actually like putting that off just until they get those boots, since regardless of whether or not you can do AGA 1, if you don't have those boots, you cannot get the item on that Lumberjack Ledge. To your point, we are starting with the boots in this one, so that could be a big determining factor. I'm always one, too, of knowledge is power.
Yeah, I agree. And, finding bombos, and I must have missed it, but we found a hammer too. Things are looking pretty good. Vanilla green pendant and then just regular blue crystals for Desert and Hera. So, it'd be interesting to see if our runners make a trip over to, Eastern. I'd say find a bow, definitely.
I believe for DJ, just from the perspective of messing around playing a few seeds here and there, I think for him it'll wait until he gets a couple of items that decide to point him one direction or the other. Let's see, maybe he's gonna throw a little wrench in our plans here and even mess us up with what he wants to do.
I mean, it's definitely possible. And, that's a really nice bush crab to be able to see. Um, free money farm. I don't think anybody would say no to that.
Yeah, 20s every single drop. That is something that you actually like this early on, given if you go this route, then you go down to South Shore, you actually have 3 different bush crabs that you can pull and get a number of, a good chunk of your money for Zora cash from right then and there.
Yeah, absolutely. And failed to mention it before, but Lumberjack Ledge is technically dead. Both of our runners saw a 5 rupee there, so we won't have to worry about coming back up for that, but that doesn't necessarily mean that Aga is completely dead. We could still have that glorious moon pearl on the pyramid ledge, as you mentioned before.
Well, yeah, we're far from Aga being dead at this point, and I take full 100% blame if the moon pearl just happens to be sitting on the ledge too.
Now, I do think that it would be fair to say that neither of us did roll this seed, just disclaimer out there. None of the crew rolled the seed. I believe it was Kaesden who rolled the seed, but I wouldn't put it past his seed rolling abilities to totally put a pearl on the ledge. Because ew.
We can still hope. We can still hope.
For sure. So blind set not really turning out much of anything other than, some more money. That doesn't necessarily mean a whole lot. There's a whole lot of Kakariko left, but man, could this be the rare Kak is dead seed?
We got a ways to go yet before I'm safe saying that. At least let us get out of the well here first.
I mean, Bloomerang already is Pog, and there's our Dark World access. Aw, rip the dream.
Man.
But you know what? This brings up something interesting now. Do either of our runners follow that Moon Pearl straight into the Dark World after finishing up Kakariko, or do they continue on, do some more Light World before, heading that way?
That is definitely a good question, especially with that hammer in hand. Basically, essentially a full clear Thieves' Town regardless of the item layout. Probably want to hope it's a crystal if you're going to do that instead.
All right, so knowing Kaesden, I am going to make the assumption that he is going to continue with some Light World things. I definitely think that he will hit up South Shore. He might go into Hype Cave area and then head east or west depending on what he finds in Hype Cave and in the map check. But I could see him doing more Light World things instead of going immediately into the Dark World.
Yeah, and I can kind of see DJ doing the same thing, playing it a little bit safer, doing the normal, Sphere 1 checks, getting all that out of the way before deciding to make that jump right into the Dark World and be a little clowny with the routing there, I could say.
Now, so we mentioned this, but it looks like Darkwing might be heading back up. Like he's planning to go to VOO. He's following that Moon Pearl and gonna go to Thieves Town.
And this could feed into the fact that both of these runners do know each other fairly well, and to your point of saying that you thought Kaesden was going to go south, there he did, and DJ probably felt the same too and decided to go north instead.
Yeah, I don't disagree with this, as we had Skull Woods and Swamp Palace as our 5/6s, and then Ice and I believe good old Pendant Pod.
Get the check on DJ's side. We can confirm that. And of course, as the age-old adage goes, the answer's always Pendant Pod.
Oh, I do love me some Pendant Pod.
Until the 1 seed out of 10 that there's absolutely nothing in there but, rupees and pieces of heart, and then you're just like,
no,
why
that doesn't exist. No. You're not allowed to ruin my hopes and dreams like this. Pendant Pod always has progression. No.
I only said 1 time out of 10 that it does that. I mean, I gave you 90%.
By 1, you mean -1 out of 10, because no.
Okay, now that's just imaginary.
I mean, I is a great number.
This is true. Going through those Village of Outcast checks, DJ actually pulled a mushroom out of the chest game. That's kind of interesting. We'll see how long it takes for DJ to decide to either hold on to that or turn that in.
Generally speaking, early fetch quests do tend to have progression. So if I were DJ, the next chance that I got to save and quit, I would almost go ahead and fake flipper up to the witch's hut and turn that in. Worst comes to worst, you save scum it and you can save it for a potential fake powder.
Yeah, I actually kind of agree with that sentiment. There's no real better time than after an S&Q back to Link's house, and especially the way the seat is right now without, the mirror, the flute, or anything, you're going to be S&Qing for the foreseeable future. So, no better time than after an S&Q, drop that in, and there you go. Find out what you got today.
Yeah, and as Kaesden was going through Dark World, only picking up Ether in Hype Cave, a relatively not super hype thing, unless it ends up being, entry to Mire or Turtle Rock, but that's not a location that Darkwing's going to miss at all. So I like the plan to come back over here though to South Shore, go ahead and finish it out. He has Zora money now, so he can go ahead and water walk over there as well.
Yeah, wasn't quite the big splash item that kind of gives you a direction, coming out of Hype Cave, as I'm sure Kaesden would have hoped in that instance. And fortunately, I guess you could say it didn't really have too much hype for us today.
I mean, I'd say a fire rod here in Mini Moldorm Cave is pretty hype, though, as well as a Master Sword and the cane.
Okay, so Hype Cave relocated to the Light World and down and to the right a little bit, it looks like today.
Yeah, I am more than okay with this. This is pretty fantastic, actually. So I'm going to say this. If Darkwing manages to find a mirror somewhere here in Thieves Town, it's gonna actually make his routing of this area a little bit nicer, because he's going to be able to do you know, south from VOO, mirror after Hype Cave, and then get his South Shore checks in.
An early mirror when you haven't even done South Shore yet is always something you never say no to. You kind of look at it and you're like, okay, this feels good. Let's literally do everything that's early Sphere 1 on top of additional checks all at the same time and feel good about ourselves.
Oh yeah, for sure. For certain. Apparently I wanted to put sure and certain together. But, you know, here's my thing is, you know, I really don't want to give Darkwing that many props, and I really hope he doesn't find the mirror. But, you know, I mean, root for good people. Darkwing's good people. But there's a bow.
A sequence broken bow over there for Kaesden in the Waterfall Fairy. That's kind of interesting because, I mean, now you can take that bow and go complete yourself 2 pendant dungeons. Well, okay. Now we found the lamp on the ledge, so there's that too.
And Kaesden will 100%, after checking Zora, I would say go ahead and just splash delete. That way, you know, he can do dark rooms. Dark rooms are not an issue for him. But, you know, if he can get a free lamp, he's gonna take it.
Yeah, and this is definitely a move that I agree with. It's I mean, the time you're gonna spend grabbing this lamp by splash deleting, you're gonna save that or make that up versus what you would, you know, the time you'd lose potentially doing dark rooms.
Yeah, absolutely. As we've got Darkwing over here in phase 3 of the blind fight, takes him down, you know, getting a little body, but not too bad, and not finding anything in there. So Thieves Town is dry other than the crystal that blind drops.
A well done fight there by Darkwing, getting a little off script, but it's 16 minutes and 25 seconds. That's crystal number 1 for DJ Darkwing and Skewed by 6 cubed. And as he said, unfortunately, not really finding much, but a nice green, shiny single rupee for the effort. But I mean, we will take that.
Yeah, we'll definitely take that. So then, here's the next question. If you're going south, does Darkwing pick up the Smith and take Jeremiah along for a trip?
Yes, I definitely feel like you have to do that, and you got to go for the nice extended, at least all the way to Hype Cave world tour there, and take him to see the sights and bring him back with your boots a little bit later and see if it actually pays off.
Yeah, I mean, do you see him taking, since, I mean, y'all have definitely gotten practice in, do you see him taking the Smith all the way up around to Pyramid Catfish as well?
I feel it depends on how thorough he wants to be versus, you know, if he wants to leave some things behind. If he's feeling in a thorough mood, I could totally see him going straight up there. But, I mean, knowing that Pod is the pendant, he might make a trip over there later. I think he might actually leave the Pyramid Legend Catfish for when he makes that trip to Pod, just to add a little more value.
And that's totally understandable because, you know, that's like Pendant Pod is obviously the play. You know, I'm not biased at all. It's totally the play.
I mean, the way you're going, you're just going to curse it and we're only going to find rupees and pieces of heart over there.
Don't do this to me, Spy. Don't do me like this.
I mean, I'm just saying, it's always a possibility.
You know, it's true. I've had, oh gosh, I hurt to even say it. I've had one seed where Pendant Pod did not have progression, but it also had the powder, so I'm just going to count that as progression because, yes, even though it wasn't.
It still saves time over a death.
Yeah, see, exactly. It's anti-death progression, right? Yeah.
We'll go with that.
So Darkwing opting to not pick up Jeremiah and take him along with him. Could be just waiting, hoping that a mirror is somewhere along this way. We know there's not one. But, you know, if he does this, he can go ahead and just loop in Pyramid and Pendant Pod along with this. It does kind of isolate Catfish, but you know what? It's not that big a deal. Again, he's probably hoping for a mirror to be able to Catfish into Zora area.
Yeah, and let's be honest, it's Catfish. No one likes Catfish.
You mean Zora the Scamfish's Dark World brethren?
I'd almost say it's running even a worse scam when you just throw garbage into his circle and gives you nothing in return. It's just, okay, you wasted my time. Why did I come all this way?
I mean, we did throw garbage into his pool.
Yeah, that is fair.
All right, so as our runners are kind of taking a little bit of time of, you know, following in each other's footsteps here, I really want to shout out our awesome restreamer, Amerith. She very quickly put this together. We had some technical difficulties on runner end, and she was able to like get things situated super fast, you know, as well as trying to get some restream set up for a separate tournament. You know, the fact that this is happening is really thanks to her, and if you haven't already, give her a follow because she absolutely deserves it. Shout out also to our tracker, WinFox470, who is also on Team Please Clap. So we're at a majority here in the booth. And you know, follow Spy as well. He seems pretty cool.
I feel a little bit outnumbered, but you know what? As long as we get those 3 points at the end of the day, I'll be fine.
I mean, you can certainly hope for that.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see in about an hour or so. We'll see what happens.
This is true. There's plenty of game left. Lots of following in each other's footsteps here.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm telling you, it's a race for who gets Dependent Pod first.
I keep telling you, you're gonna jinx it. You're gonna jinx it.
I mean, when you think about it, though, what do we really have left? We have Agina, we have Pyramid Catfish, we have Old Man, and really Old Man is sequence broken anyway, but we have Old Man and Spec Rock. I mean, as far as density goes,
that fire rod. Well, I guess you could say Eastern would be sequence broken too, but that fire rod, we can go north into Skull Woods.
You're right. There are 2 checks in Skull Woods, but it's also Skull Woods.
But you also got the fire rod. But speaking of which,
you're right.
over on the left-hand side of your screen, Kaesden taking down Blind in a marvelous fight there. 22 minutes, 25 seconds on in. That is Crystal One for Kaesden and team. Please clap.
So here's the cool thing about how Kaesden did route this, not to, you know, toot his horn or anything, but because he went, you know, Hype Cave West, he's incentivized himself now that he has that fire rod to go immediately north after he checks Hammer Pegs here, go straight into Skull Woods, do a 6-heart green male Mothula fight, because, you know, who doesn't love those? And totally walk out with his second crystal.
Yeah, it's entirely a possibility. It depends on, you know, like you said, 6 hearts, green male. You're kind of staring at that and Mothula and spikes and 6 hearts and yeah.
I mean, it's within his wheelhouse. I've seen him take down Moth with, as much as it might be hard to believe, worse equipment. I mean, I've seen him do a similar like 6-heart green mail, but with Fighter Sword. It's not fun. It's not easy, but he's done it. So Master Sword's already going to make that feel good, but I completely agree with his choice to go ahead and check the front, hoping for something else, a sword, half magic, a mail, something.
Yeah, normally I'm one for saying go to the back first if you can clear it to save yourself from doing checks up the front, but in this instance, you know, to your point, you're very low percentage. Go ahead, check the front. Hope you get that tempered sword for all intents and purposes, and just make that a little bit easier going to the back.
Yeah, even at this point, a bottle with green goo would be beneficial because, you know, you can just spam fire rod shots, you know, all day long without a care in the world.
I mean, anything would be nice.
This is true. Darkwing also managing to make his splash delete, picking up his lamp here shortly, as Kaesden does find a nice blue mail.
Speak of safeties.
Yeah, so checking front before heading to the back, paying off for him.
Those spikes are still going to do the same amount of damage, though.
This is true, but you're going to cut off the amount of damage that Moth and his lasers will do. So that'll be at least helpful.
Oh, here we go. Sequence broken, albeit. DJ, what? Oh, maybe? No? Oh, okay, there we go. Heading over to Eastern Palace area. We'll see if after grabbing the items in Sahasrah's closet, she decides to keep going a little bit further towards that green pendant or not.
And you know, actually here, most of Eastern won't be sequence broken. It'll completely depend on where the big key is. But as long as there's not an item in... Ooh, oh no. Well...
Ooh. So when does Kaesden like going over to Eastern Palace?
I honestly could see him going after this. I know Kaesden really likes to be following crystals. But at the same time, he's going to be having Sahasrah's hut in his mind, thinking that's somewhere I need to go. So I don't see that flute evading him for very long. My hope is that he goes there before Pendant Pod, and I can't believe I'm saying those words out loud right now.
I knew I'd get you on my side sooner or later.
No. Pendant Pod still has progression. Pendant Pod has Ice Rod, or Mirror, or Hook Shot. Maybe even Flippers, actually. It could be Flippers. But, you know, with what I was saying earlier, technically speaking, Eastern Palace is in logic. With that Fire Rod that we found in Mini Moldorm Cave, you can beat the boss. It's just the big key chest is locked.
That is correct, and it depends where that big key is. However, quick intermission on the left-hand side. 26 minutes, 55 seconds on in. Kaesden taking down Mothula quite spectacularly. Blinken, you definitely missed that one. That's crystal number 2 for Kaesden, and please clap.
Yeah, and I say Darkwing is following closely behind on his way up to Skullwoods as well. Kaesden, what are you doing? You've got both items. You piece of heart, blue mail.
Keep going. Look for the third item.
Yeah, he'll figure it out. I mean, I didn't say he'd figure it out, you know, before opening the chest, but he'd figure it out. At least he had a sword when he came here, no big deal.
There you go.
All right, so Team Please Clap would like to call an emergency meeting with our runner. You know, this didn't happen 10 minutes ago or anything, but you know.
Coming from experience, this counting to 2 in dungeons thing can be a very difficult task, so I don't fault Kaesden at all.
No, counting is very, very hard. And, you know, when you're thinking about where you're going to be going next after doing what you're doing, sometimes, you know, chest count is not exactly at the forefront of your mind. All right, Kaesden showing us that Bumper Ledge is just some blueberries, just a 3-bomb pack. Moving on now, I am suspecting that we're going to see a kern jump here over to Catfish.
Be bringing out the spicy tech. It looks like you might be. Why are we going up here?
I'm
Oh.
a liar. He set up the water
Oh,
walk.
yeah, that okay. I missed that. I wondered why he bonked over there in
Same.
Skull Woods. Like, I saw him bonk, but I literally didn't
Same.
think about it.
Look, see, this is why I'm not running Cas Boots.
I would have
I
been the
would not have
genius
thought
trying
about
to,
that.
no, I would have been like, oh, let's go kern jump, not let's do it the easy dash over the side of the Skull Woods pit and go water walk method.
Right? All right, Darkwing picking up his blue mail as well. And you know, the scamfish having what are we surprised? A scam?
I mean, you threw garbage into his circle. He's obviously gonna, just kind of, blow you out of the water with that one.
But he's a catfish, not a whale.
They were bombs he threw at you.
Ha ha ha. See, we both had different jokes. Look at us. So, I don't necessarily hate what Kaesden's doing here, though. Go ahead and just finish routing it out from the north loop around here. Gonna go ahead and do Pyramid, and I'm going to assume at this point, if he's staying in here, just going Dependent Pod right after.
Yeah, I feel like, oh, maybe not.
Or
Never
not.
mind. I was gonna say, I felt like
Fine.
that's the play if you're doing that, but...
Fine, Kaesden. Goodness. King's Tomb, then, it seems. And this may have been something that he had wanted to do and realized, oh no, I don't have the mirror, so I'm just going to keep going.
That's entirely possible as well. I mean, how often do you not have the mirror when you can do that stretch of checks?
It's true. And not having the mirror can sometimes make routing a little bit on the wonky side. Meanwhile, 31-25, DJ Darkwing getting his second crystal from Mothula with a really nice fight as well.
That'll even us back to 2-2. Kaesden, is it going to be the first of our runners to hand that mushroom in, heading up to the witch's hut? We'll see if this ends up being anything here.
Yeah, I know I'm anxious to see what it is. Oh, that's good. That's real good. All right, but
To be
Kaesden
fair,
still needs to... Go ahead.
To be fair, we did call that.
We did say that early fetch quest generally leads to progression. In this case, we got a hook shot. But Kaesden, you gotta go to Sahasrara. Go get your flute. Then go up the mountain.
Yeah, from a pure numbers standpoint, this is definitely the right play. You go up the mountain here before going over to the 3 checks in Sahasrara.
This is true, but what Kaesden's going to have to remember is that flute is his logical access to the mountain right now. That lamp is out of logic because he does not have the flippers. So, he's got to be thinking in these first checks before the mountain, flute or flippers have to be somewhere over there.
Oh, things about to get spicy though right now. DJ just went ahead and spent all of his magic, grabbed the smith. This is going to be a smith turn-in plus a fake powder, I would imagine.
I love this. I 100% love this. I think that if this is something at Magic Bat, this is going to pay off huge, especially since Kaesden's 100% not getting that mushroom back. And who knows where the powder is this seed.
It could be in Pendant Pod.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Kaesden gotta be careful. Oof! Oh, couldn't dodge that last dead rock and taking an overworld death there on Death Mountain, aptly named. But thankfully, we do have the spawn point back up there, so it's not gonna be too much of a time loss.
No, he'll be full health. He'll be able to get his hook speed going here and get through Waffle House hopefully this time. Alright, on Darkwing's side, Smith just giving us a 10 rupee investment For those who don't know, you do pay the smith 10 rupees to temper your sword in the vanilla game. You know, him giving back a nice 20 rupees, so you know, a little 10 rupee boost.
And survey says for Magic Bat, just a full heart, so unfortunately, not the payoff you would have hoped for that magic powder there, or fake powder. Yeah, those words.
You know what, though? That little extra bit of life, and for that, you know, comfort of knowing that you're not, you know, missing out on anything by turning the mushroom in, I think is helpful. It looks like Darkwing, though, is going to go ahead and finish out Smith Chain here, going ahead to go grab Purple Chest, and then we'll see a save and quit and a flute from there to 7 to turn it in.
So the number of times I've seen it, I hope it happens now, but nobody seems to like doing mirrorless Smith Chain, and it's kind of a running joke amongst our team about, you know, I'm always the only one that does mirrorless Smith Chain because I'm the only one dumb enough to do it. The amount of times, though, I've pulled an item from that purple chest, I'm kind of hoping it actually shows up right now because Darkwing's doing a mirrorless Smith Chain here. I'm kind of half proud of him right now.
You know, I bet that if it was not you on comms right now, he would totally not be even worrying about it. He is just doing this to let you know, hey, this is for you, Spy.
I can bet you're right, and for that I really hope this is something. Just please be something so I don't hear the end. Okay, I'm never gonna hear the end of it.
Yep, and the rage slashes, I imagine those weren't necessarily for Gary opening his lunchbox of nothingness, but rather for you, his loving teammate who loves mirrorless Smith Chain.
I mean, one could have hoped.
So because Darkwing has not turned in his mushroom just yet, he is opting to head over here to the mire area. I like this. We're going to get some medallion information here, see what the shed has for us as well. We have a Quake entry, so we still have to go on a medallion hunt.
Kind of mixed feelings about that one. Oh, wait.
Oh,
nope,
never
mind. I'll nope, not even gonna say it.
Well, here's the good news. He can just go ahead and do that right now.
Turn around.
And good news on Kaesden's side, finding both items for Hera in this, I guess this is the 3rd floor area, one in the big chest, one in the main central chest there. So no visiting the basement today. Unfortunately, neither were progression.
Interesting. Looks like DJ was gonna start opening up Misery Mire, but decided against it. Probably not too happy with his loadout for this fight. So deciding to, looks like, make the pod play.
You know, I don't blame him. Viddy is a nasty piece of work.
Oh wait, you know what? I just looked at the top left of the screen.
Oh, yep, that's certainly an issue. You know what would solve that?
Fluting to 2. If only we had that flute. and
while
you're
only we had a
there,
bottle.
That is also
But true.
a good point. Jesus.
We're missing a few things. No big deal.
This is once again why I commentate and don't track.
You know, though, he's got a real nice rupee count. I like that rupee count.
Speaking of bottle,
one that we can't get because we don't have a mirror. Rude Seed.
it's just taunting you with that blue goo as well. But while we were discussing DJ and his Misery Mire antics as he finds the book in the first chest of pod as well, Kaesden taking out Tower of Hera, getting crystal number 3 for team Please Clap, taking a 3-2 crystal advantage.
So here's my scare. Darkwing made it to Pendant Pod first and found a book. And this book, whenever Darkwing does go up to the mountain, can lead to something on Ether Tablet, and I'm terrified.
That is a fair point.
Book progression. Oh man, what if it's the mirror? Oh man, I'm scared.
I mean, if it's the mirror, DJ will just have to, reflect on his choice there a little bit and decide what to do next, but,
Wow. That was a pun.
Gonna need a little bit of introspection after that one, I feel.
Oh my, no, stop. All right, so interestingly enough, though, the rest of Pod outside of that book is completely bow locked, and our bow right now is still out of logic. So, shenanigans with things right now, because the rest of everything here in the front is a key, and Darkwing started to realize that, like, wait, everything up here is a key. I got a book, I got a heart container. It's gonna be interesting to see what's back here that is technically flipper locked.
Okay, so I'd be lying if I didn't say I kind of hoped that TR was going to be either Ether or Bombos and be completely empty inside.
I could see Kaesden having dipped it if it was the case, truth be told. As many times as Ice Rod is there, but he wouldn't have dipped it before checking all this. And, Silvers is a nice consolation prize for going through Hookshot Cave.
Yeah, that's very fair, and depending on what, when, and where DJ finds certain items, you might not find those silvers today.
Yeah, this is true. If there's nothing else up here on Dark Death Mountain and everything else is, in dungeons along the way, then it's very possible he may not get those. Now, finding silvers and having Master Sword is going to feel good, but I know that both of our runners would be eager to be able to find a sword upgrade still at this point.
This is true, but those silvers, I mean, it makes it burn a little bit less, especially since, when you get over to Vidi, that it's, it's going to be so easy for you.
Oh yeah, for absolute certain. Kaesden finally making his way over here to Sahasrara, going to be getting his flute. After getting his flute, I would not be surprised to see him go ahead and just straight up save and quit, not worry about dipping Eastern yet. Going ahead and activating that to go to the Mire area.
Yep, that is definitely a play that I 100% agree with. When you get access to that Mire area, it's always nice to go over there and just, peep that medallion requirement, especially if you're still missing a medallion. Gives you a little more information. As I said it before, I'll say it again, and I'll keep saying it. Knowledge is definitely power.
Absolutely. Speaking of power, I totally don't remember if this is the Pendant of Power in the vanilla game or not, but you know what? Darkwing's in Desert.
They change them up so much between one game and the other. Who really can remember without looking it up?
This is true, because I can't remember. I think Desert is the blue pendant vanilla, but the blue pendant is the Pendant of Power, I think. I can't remember. It doesn't matter. He's following the book. He's looking for things here. I like it.
Found one item already, that being the bottle, which we just saw turned in over on Kaesden's side with the sick kid for a whole 20 rupees. And item number 2 in Desert looks to be the net, and Darkwing is picking it up.
Not just any 20 rupees, though. The 20 rupees that represent the Pegasus boots. So we have found our rupee boots, folks.
Or at least the item that replaces it in the item pool.
Yeah, yeah,
Not
yeah.
necessarily meaning that's where it would be.
Fair enough. Yeah, because the seed does not necessarily care about logic when it places that 20 rupees. It knows that you're starting with the boots, so boots checks are automatically in logic. You don't need to find that. I know that in the ladder, you'll still find actual boots in casual boots races instead of a 20 rupees. And that's been kind of a point that's required a little bit of clarity. You know, you don't have to find the second boots technically for the ones on your feet to be in logic.
Yeah, for whatever reason, their junk fill is just, you know, another set of boots or one boot. So you start with one boot for your right foot, and you find the boot for your left foot. I don't know.
Does that mean Link is like limp dashing as he's going until you find the second pair or second boot?
I mean, that would always explain why I bonk into walls on the right-hand side of the screen all the time.
Makes sense. Makes sense. That also could just be, you know, input things, but, you know, we're not talking your gameplay here.
And there it is, 45 minutes, 27 seconds, and a marvelous Land Molus one cycle fight for DJ Darkwing. That is crystal number 3, even in the South in the crystal count, 3-3.
And our first kind of big diversion with the crystals too. You know, we had Hera on Kaesden side. We have, ooh.
But yeah, that just fills some logic gaps at this point.
Yeah, that is kind of gross logic though, because that means that the seed expected you to dip Mire and then leave to go get the lamp on Zoraledge and the bow.
There's a reason we tend to ignore about at least 50% of logic when you play the game.
That's true, but whoo-wee, that's pretty gross. All right, it does look like Kaesden is going to head back over to the lobby and the right side chest here before doing the cutscene. I don't blame him. Cutscene takes forever. It's not a fun check. In that torches room where he had been just a minute ago, if he had found a small key, it would have guaranteed that the big key was vanilla. But in this case, it's in that lobby chest.
Speaking of which, Kaesden giving us a glimpse at some more fancy tech there. Set yourself up on the right pixel, dash on down, and surprise, that barrier no longer exists for whatever reason. Well, programming.
Spaghetti code.
But in all fairness, for a game in the early, you know, coded in the early 90s and everything you can do to break it, and it doesn't actually legitimately break, it's coded fairly decently, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. There are definitely games that have been made later that are way more breakable than
It was a different day when he couldn't release a patch on a game release day to fix everything you didn't fix 3 months ago.
You know, bring back the old days where everything is just still as broken as it was on day one.
Let us have our fun.
Yeah, come on, game devs. Get with it.
Well, I don't know if I'm mistaken or not, but did Kaesden ever find the second item there in Misery Mire, or did he just pull the flippers and get the big key and go to the back?
I'm pretty sure that that's exactly what he did. He may be gambling that it is here on Vidi. It's still very likely that it's on the right side, but it could be here in cutscene chest. I think he's hoping that flippers being. Never mind. Hello. That's big. That's Swamp Axis Force at this point. At you know, 48, I'm not even sure the seconds. 48 minutes in though, Kaesden reaches or gets his fourth crystal. Counting is hard, remember? Gets his fourth crystal, will be mirroring over to Desert to pick up his fifth here very shortly. Darkwing not far behind though. He's going to be getting that mirror not very long from now. And we are Ice Rod Hunt now.
Yeah, so the way things are working out here now, the big question gonna be how soon does Darkwing take that flute on over to 2 and turn that mushroom in? 'Cause once he does that, I kind of feel you play like Ice Rod is in Turtle Rock and you just clear things and go.
Yeah, I think at this point, you know, knowing that Darkwing did clear out Pen Pod, with the exception of the boss, and I'll be honest, I was not paying attention to the map and compass situation, to know if Helmasaur has an item or not. But regardless, you know, if that book leads to the Ice Rod, there's still a good advantage here on Darkwing's side.
And to not be outdone, Kaesden also decides to pick up our net.
I mean, don't you know? That's the real go mode item, is the bug net. How else are you going to, in a swaggy way, beat Aghanim?
But I thought Shovel was the true go mode.
No, Shovel's on the pedestal.
Still true go mode.
That's fair. Okay, so we just need our runners to go ahead, do Pod Eastern and Ice, please. Go pull the Shovel off of pedestal. Actually, we have no idea what's on the pedestal. Maybe there's no reason for anybody to ever go over there unless Ice Rod is literally nowhere else.
Wouldn't that be a thing, though, if it was Shovel on Ped and the dig spot was the Ice Rod? Oh, boy.
That would be the most glorious thing we see at this point. Or, even better, Shovel on Ped, Cane or Cape on Dig Spot, Spike Cave, Ice Rod.
There you go. That's a little bit more, a little more fun.
I mean, I like the ridiculousness of it. It's totally not the case, because the chances are so low, but man, is it fun.
So Darkwing is going to attempt a little bit of a fake powder here to get himself a fairy from this anti-fairy. And gets it. Nicely done.
Yeah, really good use of timing with the fake powder. Now, Darkwing is going to have a harder time with this fight, going to opt to use bombs on the little eyes, because he does not have the silver arrows from Hookshot Cave. He's got to get over to the witch's hut, turn in that mushroom for his hookshot.
In this instance, I do not disagree with the run back and forth, toss bombs, and then just kind of plant yourself in a corner, you know, and play it safe for a little bit. While that mayhem is going on the right side, though, taking a look at your left-hand side of the screen, Kaesden taking down Len Moles with another well-executed one-cycle fight there, unless, of course, I missed something, was too distracted by, you know, the eyeballs. And that is Crystal, a number 5. Our team, please clap, and Kaesden.
Oh no, Darkwing unfortunately getting sniped by Viddy's eye lasers. That's not good. He was switching to arrows, trying to pick off those eyes, and unfortunately, as he was trying to strafe out of the way, got, well, like I said, he got sniped.
Definitely not a good feeling at all. The key here now then at this point will be if he can kind of recuperate, get back in there, and then clean it up here on the second trip on down. Making another trip down to the base of a Misery Mire never feels good alone, just because it takes so long, it feels like, to get down there.
It really does. What I'm hoping he'll do here, though, is he'll go ahead and fake powder one of these anti-fairies, catch it into his bottle, and then he won't have to worry. Or that's way easier. But he won't have to worry about any situation like that again. He just has to release the bee.
He's giving us a look at Cave 45 there on the left-hand side, doing some mirror checks On the way to what I assume is going to be a Swamp Palace dip. Nothing really saying there though, just a handful of rupees.
Yeah, I really do like this. You know, you've already done Skull Woods as well, so after beating Argus, if he still hasn't managed to find the fire, or I'm sorry, the ice rod, I see him, you know, go ahead and possibly doing the big bomb for Pyramid Fairy and then heading over to Pendant Pod. He'll get his book and nothing else. But if that book leads to an Isordon Bombos tablet or Ether tablet, you know, he would be in better shape.
Yeah, I guess it just depends on how strongly Kaesden would feel about the ice rod being in its quote-unquote rando vanilla location of Laser Bridge.
Yeah, it could go either way, honestly. I could see him totally ditching after Swamp and going straight up the mountain. I could see him also being, you know, oh my goodness, what is the word? Thorough. I could see him being thorough with this too. It's gonna just literally depend on how he's feeling today.
There we go, a little bit better, and I feel a little bit better about that there on DJ's side. Put himself in a corner, spammed his B button. Arrows into the boss, and there you go. 55 minutes and 41 seconds. DJ Darkwing Duck picking up yet another crystal. That looks to be his 5th, as well as the mirror. Even us back 5-5, if I can still count, I believe.
I think it's 5-4 only because Kaesden has done Hera.
Yeah, it's 4. Like I said, I counting, no.
Again, counting is hard. But do want to point out that Darkwing does have the flippers. He does have the mirror. He can technically.
No.
Oh. Darkwing, go turn into
go to
Shroom.
2. You have the flute. It doesn't take that long. Go to 2 and grab a blue potion. Go get a blue potion.
You know what, though? For him, following that mirror and getting another crystal done isn't really that bad of a thing. And he can go ahead and check all of Death Mountain with us, too. He just has to take the mirror and a hammer around as opposed to the hook shot across.
Yeah, by no means is this a bad decision at all. I mean, you like I said, you can clear just about everything except 3 chests inside of Hookshot Cave at this point. You can get yourself 1 crystal. If Ice Rod is up here, or even if it isn't, you can try to play the Ice Rod as in Turtle Rock play. It's not a bad play by any stretch of the imagination.
And you know, on the right side here, he is going to be able to pick up this blue goo his first time up too.
That is true.
I mean, nobody says no to blue. Especially free blue.
This right here is going to be the moment of truth. Whipping out the book, holding up the sword high in the heavens. Ether Tablet gives us just some bombs today. Nothing on Ether Tablet.
Wrong blue item. If that had been Ice Rod, that would have been actually really, really nice for Darkwing. He could have done Hera and gone straight over to Turtle Rock while he's up here. He would have had to do the Torches Room slow because, you know, hookshotless. But, you know, it would have been kind of nice to just get both mountain dungeons taken care of while you're here. On my side, I'm really glad that he didn't find it because, you know, reasons.
We'll just have to see how strongly DJ is going to feel about the old Ice Rod and TR play. Meanwhile, though, while we're debating all this, over on Kaesden's side, looks like we found our 3rd sword in the big chest in Swamp that has the big key on the left side. That's kind of interesting.
I'm a little intrigued that he went ahead and checked Left Side Swamp being only one item from Go mode. I don't hate it. I'm very glad that he went ahead and did it, but I'm a little surprised unless he found a map or a compass already and I missed it because I was too busy watching Darkwing.
Speaking of found items, that's a blue cane. That's one of our first invulnerability items of the seed. Just another thing that you're not going to say no to.
No, and that logically puts Spike Cave into play now too.
And, you know, that third sword, depending on where this location of the ice rod is, could very well be something DJ doesn't pick up. Very well have himself a Go mode Swamp Palace.
Yeah, it all depends on where this ice rod ends up being at this point. You know, Kaesden's full clearing swamp. If Argus doesn't drop it, then, you know, well, Pendant Pod? Pyramid Fairy? Turtle Rock Laser Bridge? Who knows?
There we go. A quick silver arrow shot for Kaesden. Down goes yet another boss. At 1 hour in, that is crystal number 6 for Kaesden. And team, please collab, widening the gap a little bit more. 6-4 at this point.
But not for very much longer. Darkwing is going to be getting his 5th crystal here very shortly, taking on Moldworm as the worm does unfortunately go into enraged. Oh no, I spoke too soon. But Darkwing unfortunately managed to get a poke with the Master Sword as opposed to a spin, and that's what will happen, is that enrage will happen if you get a poke. Otherwise, it's 3 Master Sword spins on the tail to take the Trolldorm down.
That right there is one of the reasons why you'll see a lot of people preferring to use the hammer over Master Sword spins in this instance. A lot less chance of giving him that poke and accidentally putting him into the enraged mode.
Not to, again, toot my own team's horn here, but Kaesden with a swaggy bomb dupe, managing to get the dash timed out and dashing all the way through the kind of rocky area to make the bomb show up as you cross the screen transition at the 0 countdown.
Yeah, but I don't know. It proved to only be a half-hearted effort, if you ask me.
I wish I was as good at coming up with puns on the fly like that. I really do. I'm so disappointed in myself.
I mean, that one was right there. I couldn't leave that one go.
No, that was too good. You won't hear me complain about that one. I'm just upset that I didn't think of it first. I'm just jealous.
I mean, I just pieced it together.
So many sighs on my side of the booth today. All right, well, Kaesden kind of cleaning up some things here. Hobo also having a piece of heart. Going now, finally, an hour, 3 minutes in, Kaesden is finally going to Pendant Pod. About time.
I mean, good play. You don't want to leave the ice rod behind if it's down the mountain. We know it's not down there. We still haven't seen Bombo's tablet, though, so that's still within the realm of possibility. But since we only know the book is in there, I'm not going to say no.
I don't recall if either runner ever touched Eastern. I think both went to Sahasrara, got the flute, and pieced out. I don't think either have touched Eastern. So Kaesden's going to be able to do this and then mirror to Eastern to check it as well.
That is correct. And Eastern being the green pendant instead of its usual 3 items, you can almost value that at 4 items right there.
Yeah, this is a very nice place for him to be, all memery aside. You know, you've got 2 pendant dungeons, but they have all together, you know, 8 checks within the dungeon, and then 1 just a hop, skip, and a jump over to an old man who will, you know, give you some goods for defeating a monster. Or 6 monsters?
I believe it's 6. I don't know, counting and whatnot.
Yeah, why do we keep doing this to ourselves?
I don't know. I've lost lost count of how many times we've done it.
Alright, so Darkwing is opening the TR portal. Is he going to go in, though? Is he going to go in looking for Hookshot and an Ice Rod? We know that Hookshot is on the Witch's Hut. He'll be, you know, I don't think Darkwing has figured out hovering. I don't think.
Gonna go check a bonkable chest, and I would assume Super Bunny here first. But I mean, other than that, you're up here right now. I mean, I don't disagree with making the play into TR and hoping that the at least one of the 2 items you're looking for is in there.
I mean, yeah, and if he does find Ice Rod, cool. He finishes Turtle Rock, gets his 6th crystal, and goes Hookshot hunting. You know, if it's not here, it's a really unfortunate double dip, but it's also a double dip that occasionally happens. And, you know, I don't think either of us can fault, you know, that decision to go ahead and dip TR.
Oh no, not at all. You, like I said, you're up here. The mountain climb in and of itself is just such a long climb, and I feel like while you're there, you can get in. You can essentially make it all the way to Laser Bridge. You just go ahead and do it.
Now I do have to poke fun at DJ's impressive dash right off of the ledge in Hookshot Cave there. It was really, really primo entertainment, at least for me.
Missed the upwards nudge. DJ does look like he is making the dip into Turtle Rock, though. Could this be the play? We shall see. Kaesden opening up the big chest and noping out of pod. That being said, I will do a quick shout out. While our trail of progression has ran cold, be sure to give these runners a lot of love over on their Twitch channels, putting on a great show for us here today. I do appreciate every bit of support. You can drop them whenever you get the chance.
That shout out was just chilling.
So it's almost like I have ice in my veins.
Hey, can you share it with the runners?
I'm sure they'll find it in Turtle Rock.
I mean, I'm hoping so. I'm very curious where Kaesden is going right now, because he ditched on Eastern while he was there. I guess he's going to Graveyard Ledge?
Graveyard Ledge, ooh.
I mean, not a bad call. Oh, he hasn't done King's Tomb either. Okay, so wait, no, okay.
He's definitely done King's Tomb. Is he thinking he missed something and thinking he's already been inside of Eastern?
I'm not certain. I mean, neither runner has touched Eastern. We have not seen anything in there. Ice Rod could 100% be in there, and we would not know any better right now. But there's a sword, and you know, those are nice.
Oof. This bodes even worse for DJ now. I don't feel like DJ gets another sword now in this seed, and potentially not even those silvers either.
It's all going to depend on what he decides to check after he gets that hook shot, you know? And in almost a sad way, like, I kind of hope that he doesn't find the Ice Rod here in Turtle Rock, only because it'll force him to go and turn in the mushroom.
Yeah, it all depends on what we stumble across here. If he finds the Ice Rod and is able to clear TR, then it just depends on what all DJ decides to do before turning in that mushroom. We know for a fact, regardless, well, if he does, I shouldn't say for a fact, if he does find that Ice Rod, Swamp will be a go mode for him, so he won't be getting that sword. But other than that...
I have a hard time thinking he goes up to Graveyard Ledge. He might check Hookshot Cave along the way, looking for a sword or silvers on the way to GT, but it's kind of gonna be, you know, up in the air. It's I don't know how thorough he wants to be on the way to GT looking for something like that.
And I feel like it comes down to how far behind he feels. If he feels making one or two more checks is worth his time and could help him, or if he just feels that would put him even further behind, depending on... Because of course you took a death in Mire on the boss. You're gonna feel behind regardless.
Right, it's definitely a situation that nobody really wants to be in, but you know, it is what it is at this point. It's just, you know, it's a tough situation. You know, for the reason alone of I hope that he finds another sword in silvers, like I kind of don't want him to find Ice Rod here, just for that reason alone.
The ever-present Mimic Cave has for us today just 10 arrows. The trek continues. I feel like if you're DJ now at this point, being on a heart and a half, as soon as you step foot back in TR, you drop 2 bombs and reset your hearts.
Or yeah, or just jump in the pit twice even. But yeah, just accept your death. Let it happen. All right, book not leading to progression. So, I can't believe I'm going to say this. Pendant Pod.
I warned you.
Was dead.
I warned you.
I'm so upset. Although technically though, Pendant Pod gave Book, which gave Darkwing Desert access, which gave him a crystal.
Yeah, but no, we had Flute and Mirror.
No, let me have my technicalities. No, we didn't have Mirror. Wait, yes we did. We got Mirror from
Yes, we
Biggie.
did.
Never mind.
In the most convenient of places, too. I'm not even giving you an asterisk on this one. I'm sorry.
No, it's fair. I'm just sad. It's your 1 out of 10. I admit defeat. Kaesden does not, but Leo does.
Kaesden looking like should be... Oh, gonna... This might be a Spike Cave check here before going into... Oh, maybe? No, nope. Gonna grab that blue goo first.
Yeah, I totally understand that. Chat, Vortex, thank you. See, look, there's still an item on Helmasaur. If Ice Rod is on Helmasaur, we Gucci.
Ooh, that was well timed. Love it.
Yeah, that was a very clutch piece of heart. That was very, very nice.
From a runner's standpoint, I can tell you that is a huge sigh of relief when you get that. And no Ice Rod inside Turtle Rock. This is going to be interesting. I don't feel like there's going to be any way that you can save your portal on this. So what do you do now, DJ? Do you flute to 2 and then go inside of Eastern? Flute to 2. Thank you!
Alrighty, it'll be about 1 hour, 13 minutes, 40-ish seconds. DJ Darkwing will have finally picked up his hook shot and will have entered Ice Rod hunt mode.
So I don't know if that was intentional or not, but I do appreciate him assisting in the potion making and roasting the witch's hat a little bit.
I mean, I like to imagine that it was totally purposeful and he just was very upset that this was even where he had to go. And, you know, it's also getting cold. Maybe he just wanted to warm her up, but I think it was, burn the witch.
It could be something like that. And okay, now definitely being in DJ's footsteps here, you feel really far behind. Not only did you have that death and mire to compound on top of a very early accessible hook shot, I can't imagine he's feeling the greatest at this point. But to that respect, he's going to be going into Swamp Palace here. I would imagine his Swamp Palace clear is going to get done before Kaesden gets all the way through Turtle Rock, so it could be fairly even depending on what other checks DJ decides to do after this swamp play here.
Yeah, Vortex pointing out, though, Kaesden is 100% going to be able to save his portal here, and it's going to be, potentially a thing. Like, not only that, but, like we mentioned, unless Darkwing is, going to go to left side here, getting another sword's going to be a thing.
So at what point, if you're our runners, do you go check Ped?
Kaesden will tell you it's never Ped. Like, he is very adamant about that. He would rather full clear the pendant and then have to go blind pull if he needed to. Which, at that point, you're full clearing the pendants anyway.
That is fair. I almost think if you're a DJ in this circumstance, when you get done with Swamp here, you'll realize that there's no Ice Rod here. I feel like your next play is, let's take that book, let's read the Ped and and find if I actually do need to kill these bosses or not. Of course, it's only going to come into play in Ice potentially, depending on where those items are, since we know Helma has an item and Eastern Palace, of course, has the green pendant. But knowledge is power. I keep going back to that.
No, and totally, completely understandable. I don't disagree with the check. I just know that Kaesden is not going to. He's going to. He's going to go and check those two pendants that he hasn't done yet. I imagine. You know what? I'm not even going to guess here. I would imagine it would be Eastern first, but I could 100% be wrong. I have not been following the items as well as I would if I were running, and so part of me thinks you got Bombo super early and Fire Rod super early, so maybe Ice has it, but I don't know.
That is fair. I mean, Pendant Ice Palace, it being Ice Palace in and of itself, I mean, nobody likes doing it anyways as it is. You just add the fact that it's pendant, and it just makes it worse. It feels a lot worse.
What if this is the same situation as our amazing restreamers race from last night, where it's a shovel in pendant ice leading to Ice Rod at the dig spot?
I mean, I feel at this point that's just too rude.
It is. And you know what? Shout out to a Meredith, our restreamer, for one, putting this all together, two, having to deal with that nonsense. Because ew. But also, shout out to Windfox, our tracker, and Spy, my co-com. This has been ridiculously fun so far. I have had a lot of fun. It's my first comms in a while. And, shenanigans have been happening. And our runners have been putting on a very interesting race for us to watch and roast.
That is true. It's been a very chilling race to watch at this point.
I think that joke ran cold.
And it never will. Just like you keep telling yourself there's always something in Pendant Pod, I mean...
I 100% expect, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, Kaesden will go back to the Pod Eastern area through the Dark World. He'll go to Eastern first looking for it. If he doesn't find it, he will kill Helmasaur.
Yeah, I feel like that is the play to make at this point. I'd almost say if you're in either of our runners' shoes here, you get done with your dungeons, you don't find what you're looking for. That Eastern and Pod area, you've been able to full clear them both for quite a while. It's got to be our next play, I would imagine.
The only bummer with that is if you choose to mirror in that situation, you lose your portal, but Kaesden could easily just flute to 5, go into Eastern, and then run back down to the portal to still save his TR portal here.
I feel like it all depends on where you feel like that Ice Rod has a chance of being. Kaesden about to get the news that no, in fact, we do not have the Ice Rod on Laser Bridge. It had, once again, wasn't a bad play by any stretch of the imagination, just unfortunately this seed not the play. I feel we've been talking about Pod and Eastern for so long that it's just gonna be sitting in Ice Palace.
Shovel in ice. Ice Rod at dig spot. The seed is haunting. Alright, Kaesden indeed making that play. Does Darkwing run over to ice instead? Do we get divergence?
Back in the portal.
No,
Gonna check
Darkwing's
bomb
gonna
on
go
the
and do
way.
Clear Mode. Yeah, that's smart. That's incredibly smart. You know, go ahead and follow your crystal progression here. All right. Kaesden, it's right here. Nope. Okay, never mind. No, wait, what am I saying? I want it to be on Helmasaur at this point. I need my beliefs to remain. I can't have my faith in Pendant Pod shattered this easily.
Never thought you'd be so torn about an Ice Rod decision, huh?
Honestly, no. I am so upset right now. But at the same time, not really. At least we got one kind of fun, memey little thing with the Sword and Swamp. There's always a Sword and Swamp.
Oh, I definitely had that bail me out in one of my races.
I mean, on the bright side, Darkwing did get it. You know, he does have his tempered. He may still end up getting silvers. It depends on if he checks it on the way. I doubt he's going to go back up the mountain just to check Hookshot Cave without checking the rest of this down here first.
No, I don't feel under any circumstances do you go back up the mountain now before you find that Ice Rod. I don't know. It weighs in the back of your mind that it's always possible that it could be in Hookshot Cave, given where that Hookshot was. But I also feel if you're DJ at this point and you haven't seen that your opponent is done yet, you feel like it isn't there.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't hate Darkwing's play here. He may be kind of thinking, you know, Please Clap likes Pendant Pod, and therefore, you know, Eastern's right there, get both of them out of the way. So he's heading to Ice to look for that Ice Rod.
And this decision can come back to, you know, definitely feeling behind, because I can guarantee DJ feels behind at this point.
Yeah, it's something that you can kind of just see in some of his movement choices with this. It's really, really hard to take a death on a boss, especially a Dark World dungeon boss, where it takes forever, it feels like, to get back to it. But, you know, he's doing what he can to like make routing decisions that will catch him up, I think it's wonderful. I think it's a really, really smart play. You know, knowing your opponent with this, you know that they're probably going to go to the eastern area. This has less checks as far as density goes, but you know, it has a good potential to work out.
He makes his way through Ice Palace on the right-hand side. The left-hand side of your screen, Silver's making quite a joke of that fight. Armos Knights going down for Kaesden. Nothing in Eastern, but we do get the green pendant. This could be very interesting here, whether or not it's green pendant or still have Helmasaur King over on Kaesden's side of the map.
Meanwhile, on Darkwing's side, just finding dungeon items so far. That is our first item there in the U room.
Does have another small key, but is instead choosing to go north here to make his way to Ice Tea.
Yeah, this is a good call.
No.
I mean, you know, clear it out. Go ahead and do what you got to do. If it's here, it's going to be a big deal. Kaesden, meanwhile, is making his way back over to Mod. Oh, no! At 1 hour,
baby!
25 minutes and 27 seconds, DJ Darkwing D has hit go mode.
Go, baby! That was big. What did I say? We had talked so much about Eastern Palace and Pod that was just going to be sitting right there in Ice Palace, and to add insult to injury, it was an Iced Tea.
Oh, and that's such a nasty place to get to. No. Okay. So, Kaesden. Wait, Kaesden? Did you... Okay, he's getting this key. I was like, wait a second, what?
Keep going.
Okay, so at this point, though, Darkwing is very potentially, since he has a Tempered Sword, I know he's comfy with Tempered Silver, or I'm sorry, Tempered Silverless. I strongly think that he is not going to go to, he's not going to go to Hookshot Cave here. I think he's going to go straight to GT. I could be wrong. Maybe he's like, oh, we'll just check it. Why not? But, oh boy.
Oh no, I can almost guarantee that even though he just found that ice rod there in Ice Palace, he's still going to feel behind. Probably not as much as he did previously with that hookshot location and a couple unfortunate circumstances earlier. So I feel like he's gonna come out here, dash right over to GT, and just go.
Yeah, and I don't blame him for making that decision. He's gonna have a quick, you know, re-travel here through Turtle Rock. He's going to get his Trinex kill, get his 7th crystal, and we'll have a little game we like to play.
But we still do have some time here. DJ does have to make his way all the way to the back. Fortunately, he already cleared out everything in the dungeon, so it's just gonna be a quick run to the back, skip a few things, and dash on in. Meanwhile, Kaesden still working through. So now the question becomes, is Kaesden gonna go to Ice Tea, or is Kaesden gonna make the play on hoping it's on Cold Stare?
Kaesden will full clear. He will 100%, if he has the key to get in there, he'll do exactly what DJ did, which is, you know, go north at the Yellow Spike cross room, drop down, and go over to Ice Tea. It's just kind of the efficient way to get through all of Ice and clear it, because then you get the super easy bomb jump over to Freezor if needed. In this case, it won't be needed because, you know, it's Ice Tea. But as far as clearing ice efficiently, the one thing too, though, is, you know, he's going to be looking to potentially full clear it. So he's not going to be hitting that switch where Darkwing did. If he does hit that switch, we will have words.
Part of me feels like you're already going to have words for a multitude of other instances.
I just have words for Helmasaur. I'm not happy with his decision to keep things out of his pendant pod. That's what I have words about.
And you see Kaesden taking an overworld death over there. That is still to preserve that portal. I don't believe he has used his mirror yet. So it should still be sitting up there.
No, he has definitely not. Uh-oh. Missed the goose.
Missed his flight. Meanwhile, DJ getting off the spin slash. One more slash here. There it is. You know what that means.
Wow, everybody has the same guess. Well, this game, everybody, if you're wondering why there's numbers in the chat, there are 22 locations in Ganon's Tower that the GT Big Key could be. Get your number in chat and win some fancy schmancy internet points. No matter if Kaesden manages to somehow, someway get up to GT and find it first, we still go based off of Darkwing's count. Now, mind you, Kaesden still has to get all the way to Ice-T and then back through his portal on Turtle Rock and then over. So more than likely, Darkwing's gonna find it here first. But you know, I'm very positive thinking.
To that point, go ahead and get those numbers in quick, because as soon as DJ makes his way to right or left, we will be stopping it. A little bit of extra time here just to make sure we can get all our guesses in.
All right, Darkwing heading over into Hope Room first, getting a small key and a compass. He looks like he will go ahead and continue full right here after getting that key.
Or at the very least, a compass room. Doesn't feel far enough behind to make tile room gamble, so that's at least fairly decent at this point.
All right, note to self, have words with Kaesden about the switch.
I feel like that's going to be required of you at this point.
You know, it's okay. Things are great. Hey, look, red mail in compass room. That's got to feel real nice.
Ooh. Well timed. All of a sudden, this silverless fight feels a lot better for Darkwing.
Kaesden, please stop making a liar out of me. Thank you.
I gotta love that bomb jump. A lot of leeway on where you can set yourself up to make it across.
Yeah, it is really, really nice to just kind of go, but it's even nicer to do from the other direction. In fact, it's fairly free. Oh, look, there's our shovel.
Surprise. While DJ is digging it over on the left-hand side, 1 hour, 32 minutes in, but 40 seconds in, Kaesden finding the Ice Rod for go mode, uses the mirror right there, so unfortunately won't be saving the portal.
I have to wonder if maybe he just completely forgot that his portal was a thing. And, you know, he also had a significant amount of life, and there's not exactly an easy way to just death warp there. So it's unfortunate, but this is still faster.
Hey, meanwhile, you know what we just found on the right-hand side?
A key.
That would have been number 12.
Congratulations, JohnBoy81918, for winning the game. You got 11 imaginary internet points. And yeah, you also get a lifetime supply of rando seeds. Just find a local Sahasrara bot near you.
And word to the wise, if you don't want an Ice Rod HUD, just ask the bot nicely before rolling it. No Ice Rod Hunt, please. And usually it works out.
Or if you're of the other kind of mindset, you can totally ask Sahasrarla for a true Ice Rod hunt, where literally you have every item in the game, everything else except for the Ice Rod is a blank check.
Okay, so DJ entering the gauntlet here, about 134 in. Kaesden entering at the same time. Turtle Rock has to make his way right to the back. Got a little bit of ground to make up. It's not out of reach, but at this point, I'd almost say it's DJ has a commanding lead at this point.
Yeah, I would say absolutely that's the case. You know, Kaesden does have Gold Sword. He does have Silver Arrows. As far as Gold Sword goes, you know, it's not going to make a significant amount of difference here in the climb. However, you know, being able to for certain get through, you know, phases 1 and 2 of Ganon without any issue, and then quickly get through phase 4, whereas DJ has to get, you know, 12 spins. It could be a time save, but I don't think it's going to be enough at this point.
At this point, I feel like we need a couple of deaths on DJ's part in certain untimely positions to make things a little bit more even here.
Yeah, I'm going to be curious to see how Kaesden opts to route GT. I know he does often opt to do Dark Magician strats, which in this case would not be super great because he, you know, he does have to get over to Firebar Room, I believe is where it was. So it's not going to be great if he decides to do that. I'm hoping not. I'm hoping he does hope to full left. We'll see.
It also depends on how much Kaesden wants to do a little bit of metagaming there. From my experience, DJ likes doing Dark Magician, so it depends if Kaesden wants to take that same knowledge and run with it and go that full left, or what we do here.
It's funny because he didn't end up doing Dark Magician today. He went hope to full right.
Mm-hmm.
He did not, like, so he was metagaming against Kaesden as it was.
The good old double, triple, quadruple, I'm gonna confuse you and confuse myself play. There it is over on the left-hand side of your screen. 1 hour, 37 minutes, and 10 seconds on in. Kaesden pulling out crystal number 7 from Trinex. Quick dash on over to GT, and a key hunt and climb is all that remains.
Yeah, we can just wait and see what happens here. Unfortunately, Moldorm being a bit of a jerk to Darkwing, but not knocking him off at all. He is going ahead and powering through, just on his way to maybe, you know, some nice patterns. We have some geometry coming soon. All right, as Darkwing is going through this fight, Kaesden does look like he's deciding not to do his normal DM strats. He's literally doing the exact same routing that Darkwing did.
That could be a situation of maybe he's trying to anti-DM route, knowing that Darkwing does that. I don't know.
so much metagaming with our runner, with both of our runners here. Words are hard. Commentating is fun. I'm flustered. Pendant
And
Pod
don't
is
ask me to
still...
count.
Yeah, exactly. See, I have trouble with words. You've got counting issues. Like, together we make a whole slew of speaking and mathematical problems.
Right. Here we go. DJ dropping into his Ganon fight with that Tempered Sword in hand. This is going to be 12 slashes in phase 1, 12 slashes in phase 2, 4 in phase 3, and then 12 spins in the final phase, lacking those silver arrows.
Getting a real nice placement for that phase 2. Oh, but not phase 2. Must not have gotten all 12 slashes at first. Would have been a great placement for phase 2. All you would have had to do was, 4 or 3 quick spins up there. They would hit double and Ganon would be down with that phase. But DJ making great work of his cape and on to phase 3.
Yeah, that routing to the right side there actually kind of paying off a little bit there. That cape always makes things a little bit nicer. On the silverless fight, it's just a huge sigh of relief, I would say.
All right,
That's a torch glitch. That's a phase 4.
I was gonna say, getting that torch glitch, moving on to phase 4, 12 spins. Here we go as Kaesden is beginning his climb. Making some good work of these doubles and using that lamp to ensure that magic is not going to be an issue. Honestly, I think Darkwing could get away with Fire Rod and it wouldn't be a problem at all. But you know what? I don't blame him for playing it safe here just in case. I'm not certain his potion situation.
I think he's just betting on, let's do these doubles, let's make it safe, let's use the lamp just in case things go sideways. Still probably felt a little bit behind, like we had to play it safe, but there it is. That is hit number 12. The sword is in the air. We have a fanfare and a 1x3 bridge. All that remains for DJ Darkwing.
After you.
And there you have it, folks. Get your GGs in chat. Coming in first in this restreamed race between Please Clap and Skewed by 6 Cubed, DJ Darkwing D. Official racetime.gg time of 1 hour of 41 minutes and 47 seconds.
Yeah, thank you. That actually is somewhat funny. We are on a delay. Was actually chatting with Kaesden at that time, and you guys literally pulled me in the middle of a sentence of talking to him.
I am innocent. I did not do it.
Whoops.
I'm Amarith, that beautiful woman.
So
that was an interesting seed. I actually, you know what? I can't even say that because literally the only trolly thing was the ice rod, and I trolled myself with the hook shot, which was so dumb. We got the mushroom that early. Why the hell did I not go look for that?
We might have been asking similar questions.
Just as we were going on, and I think I almost stopped there before I went to the mountain. But as we kept just going on and on, it's like, well, I have this spot that has, 20 checks and I can do another 10 here. And so I might as well just keep going. And then eventually I just kind of forgot about it.
Yeah, I kept wondering. You had the flute, make a 2 before going up the mountain. You could potentially do TR. Come on, man.
Yeah, it was dumb. Last week I said on the restream after I lost to Temp that I've never been that happy with my performance and still losing. This week is the complete opposite. I've never been this unhappy about my performance. and still won.
Sometimes it happens like that though, and I'm curious. You never touched Pendant Eastern. Was that kind of a, for lack of a better term, kind of a metagaming play? Knowing that we have a strange obsession with Pendant Pod and Eastern by proxy.
Honestly, if I had the mirror when I did that dip into Pod, I probably would have checked it then. It was on my list of things to do because when I went into ice, I was still going to full clear ice, but I was honestly thinking that crap, this could be on the pedestal.
And we were kind of hoping it was.
Of course,
just a little.
It's only required if you're, a viewer that you're, hope for that.
I think I've said this to Leo before. In this game, you always pray that your seeds are wonderful, but you always just wish and wish and wish that everyone else suck.
Fair assessment.
Absolutely. For a while there, it kind of felt like this wasn't necessarily a Kaesden seed. I thought for a second maybe I accidentally typed the command trying to show y'all what it was or whatever.
You know what? Having watched him enough and played against him enough and had my backside kicked by him enough, the type of routing that you had to do on this seed did not favor Kaesden.
No, I agree with that completely. It's, Pendant Ice is just so gross in general, but you made the right gamble there. At the same time you were doing that, Kaesden was in Eastern and planning, to go to Pod, because that's what he ended up doing after Eastern. Was trying real hard to save his portal up on TR, but when it came down to which pendant dungeon is it, you made the right gamble.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna guess that it was just luck. I was fortunate enough that I didn't have magic earlier, and this might sound kind of odd because it was really just me not paying attention, and I should have tried to find some somewhere. But not having magic when I found Quake and tried to go into Mire, I just got really lucky that kind of pushed me over towards Pod. So I just already done Pod, so I wouldn't have gone that way. I definitely didn't want to check Eastern yet. That would have been my last hope. But I figured I had a little better chance of something being in Ice than Eastern, because the game just really likes to put dumb stuff in Pendant Ice.
On that note, I'm going to quick cut you off, and Leoria, if you would do the honors.
Finishing with a race time GG time of 1:47.13. My partner in crime, Kaesden, GG.
GG.
GG, man.
I feel like I cleared the entire game.
You kind of did.
I really did. Collection rate is 174.
That's a number. Wow. So we were kind of discussing with Darkwing, the biggest gamble at this point was, which pendant dungeon is Ice Rod in? You opted for Eastern and finishing off Helma. Darkwing opted for Ice Palace, and it just kind of became a which call is right.
Yeah, it got down to pick a pendant. I'd cleared everything else at that point. I went with Eastern because it's green pendant. It was 4 items plus Pod for a 5th, hoping that would be it over Ice Palace. And then when I did go into Ice, I was just hoping to myself, please don't be in here. Please be on Ped. If it's on Ped, I think I still have a chance. If I find it in Ice, I'm lost. So
yeah,
unless we had made the exact same gamble on checking where that Ice Rod was, there was just, I knew there was probably no way I was going to pull that out.
We made a couple of the same checks. We had already discussed. We both did the double dip into TR. I had actually done pod early. You'll get a kick out of this, Kaesden. When I found Quake, I tried to go into Mire, but I didn't have any magic because I had just done fake powder. Excuse me. So I just done fake powder, didn't have any magic. So that sent me over to pod. That's when I found the book, and that let me into desert, which refilled my magic, and then I can go in. So I'm pretty sure had I not had to do that, I probably would have been pushed over towards Eastern and pod as well when we
Gotcha.
could TR.
Yeah, after I found Quake, I went straight into Mire. I got the mirror right there. Like, okay, well, I'll go clear desert, cleared that. I think that's where the flippers were. I found them shortly after, went over to Swamp, cleared up more of the overworld along the way. And
yeah, flippers. Flippers were that, man. Mire was great. It had flippers and the mirror.
Oh, that's right. It was in there. So yeah, that's when I went straight over. I think I went to K45, then over to Swamp, cleared that out. And I went up to the mountain, checked TR. It was, I was kind of thinking there's no way I'm going to gamble on this 2 races in a row and have it pay off. But it did seem like the best play with Hookshot Cave and Super Bunny and all that up there. That's where the density was. So that's where I went. Didn't find it there. And then it came down to the pick appended thing.
Yeah, I kind of felt the same way about TR. I felt super behind at that point. I had a death on Vidi. I had about 20 falls on Troll Dorm. I felt so far behind, and I went, either there's something here, and this is going to be a Galaxy Brain play, or I'm going to go in and I've already lost. Just so happened that you were in there at about the same time, it sounds like. So I wasn't too far behind. Or maybe I just made up a bunch of time finding that ice rod when I did.
So to that point, how much did that death there on Vidi play into going into ice before pod and Eastern?
I don't think it did. That was at the point when I got to. So I found the mirror, so I thought, okay, that opens up so much on the mountain. I don't want to dip another pendant dungeon just yet. Let's go see, I can clear out a crystal. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I don't know, like 12, 13, 14 checks on the mountain. Let's go see if there's actually something there.
Okay, wasn't quite sure if it was a fact of you decided to go there because you felt behind, or what might have played into that decision there, I suppose.
I felt super ahead until I didn't have magic for Mire.
It's interesting because both of y'all routed this really similarly for a long while. Like there was, some minor deviances, but then it was, okay, well, we'll just backtrack with each other.
Did you go straight to the Dark World after Kakariko?
I did. I went from Dark World. I went to Hype Cave across the south, and then save and quit. Then I went into the Dark World after that. I think I did the water checks first, so I had the bow pretty early. So I did South Shore into water checks. I got the bow out of Waterfall Ferry. If I don't know which bow you got, but that's where the other one might have been.
Oh yeah, I saw you had silvers and butter. I only had tempered and regular arrows.
Yeah, I got butter from Graveyard Ledge.
Did not go there.
And silvers were in Hookshot Cave.
Oh, yeah. You know what? If I wasn't dumb, I could have gotten those.
Okay, I wasn't sure which bow you got, because either one was pretty feasible to find.
Yeah, like I was telling you a little bit ago, I went up the mountain without the hookshot originally. There was always just some amazing stuff to go. I went for density over, hey, follow this item that they gave you super early. It was a bad play.
I was secretly hoping, Darkwing, that you were just going to surprise us out of nowhere and just whip out some sick hover strats and just hover Hookshot Cave.
God, I wish I could. But I mean, even then, cool. Is it possible to hover in Swamp? Oh no, you need the hookshot anyways for the boss. So yeah, would have been worth it anyways.
Yeah, you can't hover across those jump off ledges anyway.
No, the biggest thing it would have helped with would have been Vidi, because Kaesden had silvers before going into Meyer, so he was able to make super quick work of Vidi. And, unfortunately, your Vidi fight was quite a bit harder because of just your kit.
Yeah, I mean that first the first time that I went in there with that, I should have just stood in the corner and fought. I had a outside distraction that wasn't making me think straight during that time, so I should have just sat in the corner and shot. Instead, I'm going, oh well, I only have fighter sword, so no, dude, you had master sword the whole time.
Yeah, that can like, you have to like sometimes remind yourself like, wait, what do I have? And it's not always easy, especially if it sounds like you had like, outside distractions going on. Like, that's not going to help much of anything.
And I think with that, since our screens are getting close to wrapping up, Kaesden, we'll start with you. Do you have any final thoughts on this seed this week, the next match coming up here, I believe, between our two teams on Friday, or anything else to leave us off here with?
All I say is I hate ice rod hunts. They're never fun. Good luck to Windfox on Friday. Good luck to you as well, or Hammerbro, I believe he's facing.
Yep.
And thanks for the commentary and the restream. I know this was kind of thrown together last minute, but thanks for making it happen. And GG to DJ.
And DJ, same to you.
Yeah, first of all, GG to Kaesden. He's somebody that I really respect as a player and really value his opinion, and really enjoy listening to him. So I was very happy to have the chance to race against him. Thank you to the staff, Amerith, who popped in last minute to get the restream going, because somebody had to throw a fit. So, but thank you to our comms team as well. Spy, a great teammate. Leo, she's a great friend. So thank you guys as well, and Windfox as well. You're tracking, like, except for Amerith, like this whole thing was mostly staffed by our two teams. But thank you to everyone who came out again. Big thank you to the staff.
Well, thank you guys for putting on a really great race. Make sure you give both of our runners a follow. Their links are in chat. If you look at the schedule, we have some fantastic races. We have one race that is going on right now on the ALTTPR League channel between the Dark Side of the Triforce and Grouchy Old Men, as well as, I believe it's already probably finished up, but on the Speed Gaming channel, there is Sirlinko versus Sinak for OP Got Good and the Bomb Squad. Tomorrow morning, bright and early, we have Last Locationers versus Team Hime, Lin versus Kermit over on Speed Gaming 1, 8:10 a.m. for those early birds who want to catch it. Yeah, big shout out again to our awesome restreamer Amerith for putting this on, to our tracker Windfox, and Spy. Even though Please Clap may have not won this race, it was a pleasure coming and just being ridiculous with you. And I look forward to another opportunity in the future. And I really hope that we kick y'all's tail on Friday.
I can definitely echo all of that sentiment, except the last part, of course, for obvious reasons. Let's go Hammer, bring us home again. But like you said, big shout outs to everybody who put this on for us over with the ALTTPR League. If you're going to stick around here, we're about to pop over to find the tail end, I assume, of, if my timing isn't right, or at least I think we're an hour in. Time zone's hard counting back to that again, of the other match going on. Big thanks to everyone being here. Big thanks to Leoria for putting up with me up here in the booth. I know it's probably not the easiest thing at times. I mean, people can tell you the puns just come left and right, and it is what it is. And last but not least, big shout out to both of our runners putting on this great matchup for us. It was a pleasure to watch. It was a great one, and it was great to have you all here. Thanks for joining us. We'll catch you next time for another Link to the Past Randomizer League matchup.
Have a great night, everyone. we did it.